Hey gamers, welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got a new podcast for you. Quantum and I are here to talk to you about Void Hunters, Godforge. We got some upcoming mobile games to talk about. We've got DC Dark Legion to talk about. This is part one. You definitely want to make sure to go over to Quantum's channel to see part two, because where we leave off with this, you're going to want to pick it up over on his channel. But hey, Quantum, welcome. How you doing?
Hey, Unstable. Good to be here again for another episode of the podcast. I feel like we still haven't quite gotten our sea legs under us for 2026. We definitely have overpromised and under-delivered on the cadence for this thing, but I'm super excited to get back into another one. I know you and I both have been busy with content creation and work-life balance, so it's fine. You know, it's kind of just part of the process, but I think we might actually finally be in kind of a regular rhythm, hoping to have a really fun podcast episode today.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's been off and on, so apologize to all of you out there, but appreciate you checking out the videos. The last one we did was strictly on Quantum's channel. This one, we do have a two-parter for you. So we're going to get into that discussion. Again, this is part one. Quantum is going to be part two. We're going to be referencing...
I feel like I've been hogging the shared computer or something like that, you know, and all the videos on my channel. I'm super excited that we're finally getting like a split podcast again. I think this has been a popular, way of presenting it. So
no, and it's really cool to get your view because I mean, we put our views out on the channel, but getting those opposing views, people, no, those opposing views, and just having some good conversation. Specifically, so we're going to start off with Void Hunters, and then we're going to go into a Godforge discussion. But both of them just is actually, as of the recording this video, their tests end like in a few hours. So actually, I think Godforge already ended. It ended this morning my time, and then Void Hunters ends here in a few hours for me. But so we got the open alpha for Void Hunters. We've put some videos out on it. If you haven't seen our videos, definitely go check those videos out, both on my channel as well as Quantum's channel, just to kind of get our full view on it. But let's talk about it a little bit. What'd you think about the length of it? It was like, what, 2 months? No, it wasn't 2 months. It was a month, a little over a month.
Yeah, Void Hunters Alpha was a while.
Yeah.
We could probably go back and look at our first videos we posted, and that would tell us it was at least 6 or 7 weeks. They extended it because they had the community celebration, which was awesome.
Yeah.
By the way, but I think it was a little too long. That would be my biggest feedback. That I accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish pretty early on, like within the first few weeks.
Yeah.
And there just wasn't, there was plenty to do if you wanted to kind of like build teams and do showcases, but I kind of feel like it's not really the time for that. I did all the testing I wanted to do and I was pretty satisfied with it, but it was a really fun alpha. I think, I guess in general, like my thoughts on the game, it's a really well put together game for where it is in its development.
Yeah.
I feel like you could really call that more of a beta than anything. It's just what's there is amazing. What's lacking is like very apparent that it's lacking. The PvP system needs some adjustment, but most importantly, I think we need a raid boss or some sort of community style event that we can do together. So overall, like really high ratings for me on the game in general.
See, so I put my review together for it, and I was trying to be as conservative as I could on the ratings. And for those of you out there, I put 2 reviews out, one for Godforge, one for Void Hunters. I'm still refining that system, but it's my first attempt at an actual review system. So I may have to expand kind of the categories because there's only 4 right now. But as I was going in there, I was trying to be like super conservative and critical. I was having a hard time. So I'm very curious in your thoughts because so when we take a look at what was available in there, there's a lot in there. There was quite a bit of content. I don't know that I'm a huge fan of the PvP ladder system where, at least with what we have in the game, because once you make it through everybody, there's nothing to do. You know, once you have all the battles, whether you win or lose, there's no one else to fight. So I think there's maybe some tweaks and stuff to do in there. But I had a really hard time finding things that I really didn't like. The hunt system, I think, is great. I think the RNG of the questing in there is, in some situations, was absolutely horrible for me. There's one hunt that I just couldn't level up past 6 because there was a mission, no matter how many times I ran it, the mission just would not generate in that run. But What are some of the more critical
Yeah.
things that you kind of saw in the game?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. That's my biggest critique is the RNG from the hunts. I do feel like the hunts kind of get repetitive, even though there is a ton of like I love the idea of a roguelike because there's always a different avenue for completing it.
Yeah.
But I do also think that it gets a little bit repetitive at some point. Like that can't be the main system behind this game unless they figure out ways to make it a little bit more interesting than it was. But the main thing was getting stuck on a mission and just not being able to get to the next one. And they acknowledge that.
Yeah.
So it's not like one of those things where, you know, we're critiquing something that they refuse to fix. Like they know that that's a problem and they did a hot fix that didn't address everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, definitely that piece of it was kind of frustrating to me. PvP, and I actually just put out a Void Hunters alpha recap video today. I think it released.
Yep.
So
Saw that.
that's out there for you guys as well to take a look at. Definitely watch both mine and Unstables if you haven't already. You get a lot of information about what we think they should do better. But the PvP system was one thing that I critiqued as well. As I don't mind the system, you know, in general, but I feel like it's definitely easy to get into a situation where you're just ganging up on the people with the lowest power.
Yeah.
Like what I was finding myself doing is in order to min max it, to get the highest amount of PvP points each battle, you have to go against somebody who is just going to get completely smoked.
Yep.
If you try to go up against somebody who, like a lot of these systems, what they'll do is they force you to fight against people who are closer to your level in order to go up. So I think what they could do to make the system better is do it NMR based, or, you know, figure out a way to give you more points if you go against somebody who's more evenly matched.
Yeah.
I think that would make more sense. But those are two of the big things for me. I think there were some QOL things like, you know, if you're on one gear equipment screen, like being able to filter things would be a lot more helpful. So like things like just, you know, being able to click through places a lot easier and get where you want to go. That was another one that was a big one for me, but it's kind of hard to find anything to complain about other than, like I said, missing content that they've said is going to be coming. So
yeah, no, I agree. And I did that interview with them and it gave us a lot of insight into kind of what they're planning anyway, which is cool. Yep. So, I mean, it is kind of difficult to say, hey, here's everything wrong with this. No, but you know, some stuff is coming. So, but you can really only review what you currently have access to.
Right.
And I think they did pretty well. I want to hit a couple topics that I didn't hit in the review just because I don't want to rehash, you know. So I think it's cool that we're having the podcast and talking about it too.
Yeah.
But I think one of the cool things is the questing system for the characters. Now, yes, I did mention that, but how useful do you think those characters were? It is cool that you can get epics and rares and legendaries through that, but how useful do you think those characters were that we were getting?
Well, okay, let's go all the way. Let's reverse back to the open or the closed alpha.
Mm-hmm.
For a very short duration during the closed during the closed alpha, you could get Galen pretty early on. In a couple of fights, he proved to be like super good.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I'm all in on this character. And then I don't know what they did to the kit, but they had to have nerfed it a little bit because whenever you get him in the open alpha, he fell flat to me. You know, decent healing, but you've got like other options that are like Lilith that are like super like easily accessible that are kind of given to you.
Yeah.
And like his AoE was kind of a wet noodle, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. So I like Galen, didn't like him. I didn't really get an opportunity to do anything with Raven, or I didn't try to unlock her because I watched a few videos where people unlocked her and they said it was a waste. And you had to get Leo to like 6 red stars. Like you had to fully awaken him to be able to unlock her. So yeah, I feel like I love the quest system to unlock characters. It's a great mechanic for allowing you to get access to characters that in a lot of games they would paywall the heck out of it.
Yeah.
So I like the system, but yeah, I mean, what are your thoughts? I feel like for me, none of them really were worth it except for Saint Hermida, who is by far my favorite character in the game. The kid is amazing. I hate her campaign node, like her that boss fight.
Yeah.
It ruined my life for a week and a half, and
I remember that.
you had to hear about it. But the character itself, once you unlock it, it is the most satisfying thing. That's what I love about this game. You're so angry, you're going up against a brick wall, then you bust that wall down, and you have like the game just opens up for you. Love Saint Hermida, but what do you think about those unlockable characters?
So I liked what was her name? She was the tank, the epic tank. She pairs really well with your main tank that you get. I can't remember her name. But
I can go to quantumgameguides.com and take a look.
There you go.
Actually, I don't know if you knew this. I do have all of the kits available on my website. So
nice.
If you're interested in taking a look at that stuff, but what was her name? Now I'm blanking.
I can't remember, but I did like her. I think some of them fell flat, but I think part of that too is because we don't have the full game. Raven is so centered on the void mechanic piece, and reducing the void corruption. My mind's blanking on what that is called, but in reducing that
void
stuff,
menace,
void menace and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's a mechanic that we really needed in this beta. So I'm really hoping that we kind of see that develop, right? Because she is so geared towards that. I think she'll thrive once we start seeing more of the game that takes advantage of that mechanic.
Well, I would say the same thing for characters like Saint Hermida. There are some very unforgiving mechanics to this game that I think a lot of casual players don't understand and won't understand without a healthy tutorial system. I can try to be a tutorial. You can try to be a tutorial, but at some point, the game's just not going to stick for some people because that void mechanic is incredibly important.
Yeah.
The void, how to do vows, like embracing the void, how to do your vow mechanics. Those things they feel kind of hidden. There needs to be some kind of way to like have them set aside, like an ultimate style thing where like you activate your void power or you activate, like it needs to be kind of front and center how you do it.
Yeah.
Otherwise people are and I think people in general are kind of scared of using those types of mechanics in a game where nobody wants to like hurt their own team for a gain. So it's kind of, but I love it. Like I think it's great. But yeah, I can see that being a criticism of the character. So
you briefly touched on something too, but I like the difficulty of the game too. It's not a hand me, right? You have to work at it, but it's not too difficult. And yes, we're going to hit some walls, and we hit some walls, but I don't think those walls didn't set me back for weeks. I just had to go back and kind of figure some stuff out, and then eventually break through it. And like you said, you break through those walls in this game, and you really feel that sense of accomplishment, which I think is cool.
Well, I think that the walls are there for people like us who are on the front lines trying to figure out whatever the puzzle is. We're going to solve those puzzles, and then most players are going to just kind of like run through the floodgates, I think. You and I are, we're semi-competitive, but there are going to be people who are going to figure those puzzles out a lot faster than us, whenever the game goes out. Like I hope there are some more surprises, some more boss fights like that are puzzles you have to figure out. I know there's plenty of those in the challenges. That's another aspect of the game we can talk about. I think is positive is so many different challenges, so many different ways for you to use your roster.
Yeah.
And I guess like that's the other point to be made about those boss fights is they actually are a lot easier if you knew which characters to build and you had them built on your roster. So, we were kind of on the front lines figuring it out. But I think after us, there were so many people that came to me and said, hey, watched your video. It was super easy. Or, watched Unstable's video and he used Jagia and like, you're an idiot for not using Jagia.
Jagia's
badass. So anyway, and
the cool, it's also cool too that you're taking a boss from the campaign and you're turning it into a challenge. Now it's a challenge, and now you have to figure out how to beat that boss with different characters. Or hey, now you can only use these characters. And I think it's really cool that they did that. Similar with the characters that you can get by questing, they're not available in the summons until you unlock them in the questing. So those just little types of things that they did there to add that I thought was really cool.
Well, and they're doing things that, it's very novel ideas or you don't see it a lot and it's fun. It's flashy. It's going to get people to download the game and play it, I think. I worry in some ways that it might be similar to Marvel Mystic Mayhem, where there were
Mm,
so many good aspects of that game
yeah,
and so many puzzles that you could do, but then people just didn't do them.
right.
So like they have to figure out a way to hook people in to make people want to go in and do those challenges.
Yep.
Because I think, for some people, it might be a situation where, well, the challenges are over on this button that I have to click and I don't really have an incentive to do it. So but yeah, I think like to me that was the highlight of the entire alpha period was the different challenges and kind of like every time you log into the game, you're going to have something different to do
Hmm.
instead of it being the same monotonous journey each time.
Yeah. What'd you think about the resources? So these games are all about resource management, right? And
Yeah.
putting the right resources into the right heroes and stuff like that, just to be more efficient, get through the game as best as you can, things like that. But what'd you think about the resources they gave for completing missions and campaign and dispatch mode, well, patrols and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think the patrols were a little light. They did increase that at some point. Like they listened to our feedback and went ahead and updated that during the alpha,
Hmm.
which I thought was nice. I still feel like the dispatch piece is kind of it's not really a game mode. It's just a game activity that you
Yep.
do as part of your daily quest. I I think that they were in some ways pretty generous with resources. They were very stingy to start out with, and they realized that and they kind of adjusted the economy a little bit like in real time. And
Yeah.
I do feel like after they did that, it was a little bit easier to make a couple of purchases per day with your gems if you were efficient. I was buying a lot of XP with mine and trying to save it otherwise.
Yeah.
So I think the economy is okay given what we have right now, but it's I guess we'll have to see. They want you to be able to acquire at least one copy of all these champions and kind of put some work into them. I
Yeah.
think they want the awakening system to be the part where you have to spend money or spend time to get them.
Hmm.
But I would say like in general, for the most part, I felt like everything was okay. For the amount of time that we had. What about you?
Yeah, I thought the same. I thought that I thought the resources we got for doing all the side missions and stuff, it was enough to make me want to go do my challenges and things like that. I felt that
Yeah.
it was above average because usually, I mean, and even some games that I play today, the resources that you get are so minimal, and you got to just save them up for a long period of time. This,
Yeah.
I didn't feel like they were just giving me the world, but I didn't feel like they were starving me either as far as the resources go.
What I would say, just a small caveat to what I just said, I think that the the early part of the game is a crunch. You're trying to make sure if you do it the right way, you're trying to make sure you only invest in the minimum amount of characters that you need to get through the boss fights. You don't want to overextend yourself and be stuck for a couple of weeks while you're trying to save those resources back up. And I do think that XP was a little bit light to start at the early parts of the alpha, but I think that's a good thing. Like you should be resource starved as you're kind of starting out a little bit to an
Hmm.
extent to where they force you to make certain decisions. Like if they just give you everything out the gate, you're going to get bored and quit.
Hmm.
So I feel like towards the end of the alpha, I kind of had my Holy Order team built out the way I wanted it to. I had a couple of other uh, characters from various factions built out the way I wanted to. I felt pretty comfortable with the amount of XP that I was getting. I was progressing in the challenges and getting more XP.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the
Yeah.
big bottleneck. So yeah, I think that they probably were giving us too much when it was all said and done. Like once you have a few of your main characters built out, it got a lot easier to build some of the other ones out.
Yeah.
So and I said this in my both my Godforge and Void Hunters videos, like recaps. They're gonna ratchet the resources back, guys. Like you gotta
Yeah.
get
You have to
used to that.
expect it.
It's just a question of how much,
Yeah.
because you don't, and we're going to get more beta tests for Void Hunters and for Godforge.
Yeah.
No, we'll be talking about that one later. But hopefully they'll let us see what it looks like to play with less of those resources as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we've got one more thing. Let's hit on for Void Hunters, and then we'll switch over to Godforge because it's going to be a two-parter conversation for all y'all out there waiting for the Godforge conversation. We'll start on my channel, and then we'll pick it up on Quantum's channel. But we have a roadmap that's going to be coming out for Void Hunters. I hope we see it for Godforge. We can talk about that later. But we know we're going to have a roadmap coming out We know that there's going to be a beta coming this year. I'm hoping it's within the next couple months. But then after that, at least based on the interview that I had with them, I think we're going to go into an early access and then eventually a global launch. So ultimately, we're going to see the game unless things push it out, and you can never really promise anything until you get to that point to where yes, you can say a date. So there's always a potential that it could get pushed out. But what are you hoping to see from that roadmap?
Well, I'd like to see them address a couple of the things that we've mentioned so far on this podcast, a couple of the pain points that we've had. More champions, honestly, like more heroes. I know that they've said there are a few in the pipeline or a few that they already have ready to go for the launch, but I want to see more than that, to be honest with you. And I also want to see a raid boss or some sort of like community mechanic that we'll be able to play against. Those are the two big things for me.
Yeah. For me, yes, I want to see a raid boss, something along the lines for our alliances to battle against. But honestly, and I'm PvP, I could usually give or take, but I want to see what an alliance versus an alliance game mode is for, what kind of ideas do they have? Just kind of already seeing kind of what they've been able to do so far. It gets me excited for that kind of game mode too.
One idea I had, and I probably should send this directly to the devs instead of saying it here so they know it's my idea, or I guess they'll see it here and know it's my idea. But like an alliance versus alliance mode where like the offensive team, the offensive group is going to be like void powers, like evil. And then the defense is kind of like the holy characters or something like that. Like you can't use your void powers. I don't know. Like some kind of play on the void mechanic would be kind of nice for whatever they do for that mode. Would be pretty neat.
Yeah, I think it'd be cool. All right, so that's Void Hunters. Also, again, I'm going to say it. Make sure to go check out Quantum's channel and my channel for the Void Hunters reviews that we just recently did. We got some other things that we talk about in there. Let's talk about Godforge. Godforge, that just ended its beta. We both put reviews out on that as well and some feedback. So again, if you haven't seen that, go ahead and go check it out. But when it comes to Godforge, what was your most surprising thing about that game, do you think?
Man, well, I mean, one thing was the amount of characters and the amount of kits that they put out was a little bit surprising to me.
Like 200.
I know we kind of knew that they had this many for a while, but I was just shocked getting into the beta versus the alpha. In the alpha experience, you kind of just took the first 7 or 8 champions that they gave you and you kind of used those you built those, heavily.
Yeah.
But with this experience, that the summon system was in place. So you were getting a lot more, champions and you could kind of build out a much more fulsome roster. I think I had like 800 or 900 of the 1,000 hero slots taken up by the end of the beta. So I was kind of shocked at the amount of character kits that they had that were really well thought out. Like I thought it was really robust, and I really enjoyed the story mode campaign. Like I was surprised that they were able to that they had like a full campaign. I know a lot of people have been upset about the game wasn't as ready as we thought it was going to be. But to me, I felt like I went in with low expectations. So I was surprised that there was actually a full story all the way through all 10 factions.
Right.
What about you?
Yeah, I like this.
Anything that stood out?
I like the story. I thought the story was really good. You know what really stood out for me? I talked about the imprint system, so I won't hit on that too much. I really like what they're doing with the imprint system. But I was actually surprised at how often I went back to do the farming and everything. I mean, part of that, because I've been pretty vocal about, the food mechanic and things like that and putting my phone aside and stuff like that. But I still wanted to get in the game and I wanted to play it. Yes, part of that's the content creator and me wanting to get familiar with the game so I can intelligently speak about it. But also, I wanted to make sure to build out my characters. I wanted to see what my fully maxed out Guan Yu looked like. Is he really the best starter to choose in the game? I wanted to see what some of my other characters looked like, fully maxed out. You're going to say no. We're going to fight on that one. What other characters and kind of how that power curve works with each of the characters, right? And how effective can they really be? Because I think one thing that kind of caught me off guard was how many different types of tier lists were out there. And as I start watching them, a lot of the tier lists were based on some were either based on some of the experience on the characters that people received, or they were going based off kits. So
Yeah.
you kind of had to piece a lot of that together. So getting in there and really understanding the characters and maxing them out, that's what kind of kept me going and farming so much. So I was surprised at how much I wanted to get in there and really kind of understand more, even though there's some aspects that I could do without. But that doesn't stop me from playing the game and having fun, you know?
Yeah. Well, on the tier list piece of things, and we should talk about the starters at some point, whether we do it on my side of the video or yours. But I think like as far as just don't let me forget that because I have a really fun analogy for it. But as far as the tier lists go, a lot of tier lists out there that I think, I mean, frankly, don't have enough information to be correct. So it's like I don't think they're wrong. I don't think they're right. I think it's just going off of vibes, but that's kind of all you can do.
Yeah.
And actually, my plan for the next few weeks is to put out some tier lists on the rares, the epics, and the legendaries. But I think I have an idea for how to do it that is going to be fairly interesting. I've seen some comments on some of my videos about like how it should be done where it's actually helpful to players. And so again, like you said earlier, I don't want to fully we were talking about this before we started recording. Like I don't want to fully give you all of my secrets for this, but be on the lookout for the first one in that series because I have some ideas for how to maybe be a little bit more helpful to players with it. But yeah, I think the nice thing is that you don't have to rely fully on the tier list. Like I guess the idea for me is if there's a tier list and someone has had that character previously and actually had experience with it, that will help you.
Yeah.
But the fun part is there's so many characters that you kind of figure it out for yourself. I think that's what's going to keep the game fresh for me for a long time is over the first few weeks of early access into the global launch of this game, there's still going to be a lot of heroes that you and I are playing with that we've never used before. And then you kind of got to figure out that puzzle and solve it. So,
yeah. No, that's cool. You know what? I want to see that because I mean, most of the tier lists I do, and I'm debating on whether I do tier lists or not this time around for these games. I've kind of got an idea of kind of some different routes and stuff I want to go, but for me, I got to get my hands on the character and really kind of put him to the test to do that. So I'm very interested to see kind of what you come up with there.
Well, I mean, maybe we can do some one-off podcasts where we talk about some champions too.
Yeah.
I mean, not necessarily like a full-blown tier list conversations, but just kind of like going through and talking about some, if you and I have time to do it, just kind of going through and talking about like, some characters that we actually have experience with and what we think about their kits and some helpful information.
Yeah.
So it's something worth considering, but yeah.
Oh, that's cool. No, I think we should definitely do that. And also all of you out there, let us know what kind of topics and stuff you want to hear talk about. Give us your opinions and your thoughts on that as well.
Absolutely. On this video, on Unstable's version of the video, leave a comment and let us know like topics that you want covered while we're waiting on the next beta to drop. I think that will be very helpful because there's going to be a big lull and we can talk about that probably on my side of things. But
yeah. There's like one or two things I want to hit before we wrap up this and start going into yours. But so we had the campaign and everything. We get through that. We unlock adventure. How far did you get in adventure? What did you think of that?
In the adventure mode, I didn't get too far. Started into the first round, and then I had some work engagements that came up that kind of kept me from pushing too hard. And I was also focused on the dungeons. I put out dungeon guides for literally all 7 of the equipment dungeons and ascension dungeons.
Go check them out.
Shameless plug for that. But I got started in the adventure mode. I watched a couple of people streaming it. I was in a private Discord watching some people streaming and watched a couple of them publicly as well. So I thought it was pretty cool. It's definitely challenging.
Yeah.
A lot harder than the story mode, which it should be.
Right.
How far did you get in?
I just got through the first chapter there.
Were you doing any of that on stream as well? I tried to catch a little bit of your streaming. I didn't see adventure mode though. So.
No, a lot of the streams and stuff that I did was like go and do star cleanup on the campaign, start do
Makes
some
sense.
pushing on the dungeons and stuff like that. Really wanted
Got it.
to test more of the characters. So we talked about like the Void Hunters being really really long as far as the alpha test goes for several weeks. This one here for Godforge, I felt it was a little short. I didn't get enough time to test enough characters because they have 200 characters, like you said, right? So I would have liked to have a little bit more time to do some more character testing, team compositions, things like that. But it does make you want more so that you can come back and then you start doing some testing. What did you think of the length of this one?
Way too short. A lot of complaints there because I lost a lot of sleep trying to put out a lot of dungeon guide videos that honestly haven't gotten watched a lot because nobody had time to do the dungeons.
Yeah.
But I think the nice thing is a lot of that was in preparation for the beta, which presumably we're going to have the dungeons again. So hopefully it will be helpful and timeless content for that. But I think a big part of it was I spent a lot of time trying to make some helpful guides and didn't have as much time to play it. And also the fact that you have to sim nodes like 24/7 makes it kind of difficult for you to really like get the full experience of the game within a 2-week period.
Yeah.
Because most of that 2 weeks is spent sleeping, working, spending time with your family if you have one, and then simming nodes.
Yeah.
So, which you can do a lot of that stuff kind of idly while you don't have your game, in front of you when you have free time. But yeah, that's my biggest complaint is not enough time at all.
Yeah, I remember, and I did mention this in my review. I was watching one of Simon's streams, and he said that they were thinking about background farming or auto sims. So we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah.
But okay, so we're going to transition over to your channel. Before we do that, two things really quick. Number one, as far as the beta goes, and we can reiterate this on your channel too, but I want to make sure everybody knows we have another beta coming up. If you were able to get into this first beta, you're going to be able to have all the characters that you got before. At least this is what's been told. We're going to have all of our characters, but they're going to be reset to level 1. So we got to build them all up. But that's cool because it at least gives us a roster of heroes to start testing right away and getting in on. So I think that's going to be really cool. And those tokens of valor, make sure to continue to just farm and level up. Leveling up gives you the most of those tokens of valor, but those are going to be used in I understand it's a cosmetic shop that's going to be available during early access. And someone even mentioned that it could be a reoccurring shop that comes back to where we might be able to continue to earn tokens of valor through global launch and stuff like that. So we'll see what that looks like. So keep an eye out for that. We'll continue to do updates on Godforge and Void Hunters. And then one more plug before we wrap up and pick up this conversation over at Quantum's channel, because it's going to be a good conversation about some comparisons and things that we want to talk about. But I have a new video coming out tomorrow. Keep an eye out for it. As of the recording of this video, it's going to be Wednesday, June 3rd. So keep an eye out. It's a brand new game. Very interested in your thoughts. All right, Quantum, that is it for this part 1. We're going to head on over to your channel. But as always, really appreciate these conversations. And
make sure that you go over to the like button. And then when you get done with that, go over to the subscribe button. Do both of those.
Definitely.
Good to see you guys.
Definitely do that. All right. So Quantum, everybody take care. Go over to Quantum's channel, check out part 2, and pick up the conversation with us. All right, Quantum, thank you. Always good to hang out with you.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody.